This is the Saturday service. There I am in the little box below down here. And good morning. Good morning. I am joined. It's not just me who's here talking, but I got a whole bunch of friends in Zoom boxes. Would you wave and say hello to the people who are watching on Facebook and people who are watching on YouTube afterwards? Okay.
Hello.
I am always taken by how few Zoom spaces there seem to be where everyone is asked to keep their microphones open. And I love that you all have your microphones open. Of course, it means that somebody's phone might ring. But I would rather have that and have the live engagement and the back and forth. I think it's definitely worth the price. So I'm glad you guys are all here and willing to do like that. I want to thank Hugh for running the service last week. I was not able to be here, and I think we all learned a bit about courage. And Hugh, I think you demonstrated the most about courage by being the guy who ran the service. It's
Thanks, Brian. I'm glad you're back, though. Thank you.
Good. This is a Sabbath service. I brought. I don't even know which direction to start in. I'm going to begin us with this quote from Thomas Merton, and I'm going to place it into the chat as well. And it reads like this. It says, "To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender oneself to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything, is to succumb to violence. More than that, it is cooperation in violence. It destroys your own inner capacity for peace. It destroys the fruitfulness of your own work because it kills the root of inner wisdom, which makes the work beautiful." That's a strong quote. To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender oneself to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything. That is to succumb to violence. Now that's weird because we're accustomed, Oh, look at that. I got a coffee delivery. We're often thinking that we should be involved in all these demands to help all the people we can, to be involved in as many projects as we can. But Thomas Merton here says that is to succumb to violence. It's cooperation in violence because it destroys our own inner capacity for peace. It destroys the fruitfulness of our work because it kills the inner root of wisdom, which makes the work beautiful. Can I get a head noddy?
Yeah,
we understand this. I saw somebody applauding. That's cool. That's fine.
That's what my partner's going through.
Yeah, it's a rough. It's important for us to not allow ourselves to be carried away by all the conflicting concerns. This is a Sabbath. There's something. If religion teaches one thing well, that's an odd phrase, but let me just say it is an important quality of any spiritual religious life to take some time off, to feel connected, to not be busy all the time. So I'm glad that you're here. Sit, relax, enjoy.
Yeah.
You don't have that much to do for this hour. Maybe I'm talking to myself a little bit here too. Let's all just take a moment. Oh, I have an announcement. There's somebody out here in Zoomland who's having an especially difficult time. I don't want to call them out by name because of it, but there's someone who told me that they're having a little bit of a hard time right now. And then there's somebody else who told me that they should have a little bit of a shout out for something that they did recently that they're proud of. Now, if you're the person who's having a especially bit of a hard time, or you're the person who requires a little bit of a shout out, or maybe that's one in the same person. And I'm going to purposely, this was a little bit of a gambit here, a little gamble I made. There's not actually a person by name. I was hoping to make that announcement and blanketing everyone so everyone might think I was talking about them. That all of us probably are having a bit of a hard time. And that all of us at the same time deserve a little bit of a shout out for things that are going well. That was interesting.
It's a good deal. Do it next week.
I'll do it again next week.
Yeah. That could be assignment.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the pile for next week's. There's a I have two things I wanted to I showed the one beforehand. Here's the second thing that I wanted to show us. This one goes here. First, I wanted to acknowledge that I am broadcasting here from Portland, Oregon, which is the traditional home of the Cayutes, Cowlitz, and Clackamas people. I've gotten out of the practice of making that announcement, and I just wanted to say again how important it is that we are mindful of where we are and the immense, sometimes our benefits came at somebody else's expense, somebody else's really large expense, and at the very least, something we can acknowledge. And if you've never done it, go to native-land.org and find out whose lands you are on, and take that in for a moment. Okay.
Sounds like a very Canadian thing to do.
Well, I do live north of some parts of Canada here in Portland, Oregon. So, did you guys know that Portland is north of Toronto? I just found that out this last week.
Wow.
It is?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
It's also north of Dundee, so you're even north of Scotland.
I didn't know that. Thanks, Ray. I have a little cartoon, not a cartoon, a meme I'm going to show you. I just have to figure out the right keystroke here.
You're so meme.
There it is. Hold on a second. This is entitled, Oops, Wrong Team.
Oh,
Watching a sporting event with Dad?
Watching a football game, I think. Isn't that just great?
That is
I love that.
Now, those of you who are a little wise to me, will figure, oh, that wasn't just a funny thing. There's a meaning in that. And there is a meaning in that. There's something
Yes, there is.
that kid is doing that we all do.
Instead of being real to ourselves, we follow someone else.
Mimic.
Amen.
Yeah.
Instead of being real to ourselves, we're watching around us for the cues of other people to tell us how to feel. Go ahead, Betsy.
For teaching us how to, that's right. But in a positive way, and it can be both ways. Yeah, it's getting excited, learning about that kind of thing from Dad.
So here I call it standard human operating procedure. These are just things that we do. It's standard human operating procedure is we look to those around us to inform us as to how we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, and there was another way of putting this, which I put in
Good morning,
oh, I'm off screen. Which was CHI, chronic human imperfection. This is chronic human imperfection. It's something that we just are built in. Chronic human imperfection. And you might think of it as the baseline code, or this is just how people are. This is just what we do. And I was hoping this morning to build a little bit of a list of some of these things that are standard human operating procedures, some of these things that are chronic human imperfection. Chronic human imperfection is saying I commit to doing something, but then doing the opposite. It's a chronic human imperfection. It's just what we do. Bob, you have your hand raised. You have an entry?
I think Rob has something to show. Rob wants to show something.
Okay.
I don't know how to make him larger.
Rob?
Yeah.
Do you have something you want to show?
If you'd like to see it, you can.
Oh yes, I see that, but we gotta make that.
I have yet
larger.
to find where Rob is on the screen. Oh, there's a cartoon. Alex, can you spotlightify?
I'm trying to find him. Sorry, I got Joe instead.
I got it.
Okay, here we go.
Well, we both did it at the same time.
Yeah, we
Look
both
at
did
that.
it at the same time. Okay, I got him. Here he is.
Lenny has his first bad hair day. All right, that is a bad hair. I got it. Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
So help me out, people. I'm looking for... Oh, I hid my own self-view. Can you guys still see me? I'm here.
Yeah, I can see you.
I exist. Good for me. What are some things that are standard human operating procedures or chronic human imperfections, things that we all do that we wish maybe we didn't have that quality in us? It might be a little bit rough of a opening question.
Lie.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. We all have we might lie. That is a standard human operating procedure that we might not want to have, but we have anyway. We base our emotion on the people around us. It's both good and bad. That's what we saw in that picture. We saw it's a good thing that our brains co-regulate with the other brains in the room, but sometimes it's really a bad thing too. We go along. Go ahead, say that again.
Procrastinate.
Yeah.
People pleasing.
We procrastinate. Yeah, we try to make someone else happy. Which is not in itself a bad thing, but sometimes we throw ourselves away to please other people.
Being a slave to reaction.
Oh, I like that. We react without thinking.
Blame others.
Oh, yeah.
Also take responsibility for things that aren't really even in our control.
Yeah. I don't know how to write that one.
It's my fault.
Self-blame, yeah.
Overly self.
Quick to judge.
Yeah. We are quick to judge.
Quick to justify it.
There were two things that were said at once, and I missed both of them.
And we're quick to justify it.
Yeah, we're quick to judge. We're quick to justify. Well, that wasn't my fault.
We focus on the negative.
Michael, I don't know if you get 5 positive points or 5 negative points for that one. We focus on the negative. That's just a standard human thing. Standard human thing is we focus on the negative. Standard human thing is we judge. Standard human thing is we justify. Or we could say that about them. Standard human thing is that they lie. Standard human thing is that they blame. Standard human thing is that we get overly involved in ourselves. Standard human thing is that we react instead of think. Standard human thing, we people please, procrastinate, we base our emotion on those around.
Brian?
Yeah.
I also think that we put things in place of people.
Yeah, we pervert hierarchies.
There you go.
We pervert what's important. Yeah, I think Hugh was saying something. I heard someone say Brian that sounded like Hugh, but maybe it was not.
No, it was John.
John, go ahead.
Two things. Along with judge, we have this thing about judging beforehand.
Yeah. We prejudge.
Prejudge.
We have decided, right? We all do this. We decide that we don't like someone, and then we find reasons not to like them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You got two.
It doesn't take much to carry that word a little bit further.
Yeah. You said you had two, John. That was one.
Okay. The other one is Merton's quote is an excellent example of chronic human imperfection in terms of attempting to be all things to all people and then falling short.
We overdo. We attempt to overdo.
Yeah.
That does not look right as a word to me. I think it's got to be two words. That looks like some weird French cheese.
I fit in there.
If you look
Might be inappropriate.
really hard at anything can look misspelled.
Yeah.
Candace has her hand up.
Go ahead, Candace.
Okay. Avoid. We avoid what we don't like or we just chicken out.
Yeah, we avoid goes with procrastinate. Carol, you had a finger in the air.
We still live with the complaints that were made against us in childhood. We have developed an inner critique that has not grown with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I identify with that.
I'm going to add shame, infinite shame. Like, it just doesn't go away. I did magic tricks recently for someone, and they enjoyed them, but the amount of time that one enjoys a magic trick, the half-life of the enjoyment of a magic trick versus the half-life of shame. It's crazy. Shame is sticky. That's just part of being human. Is we all stuck with this. We're stuck with procrastinating. We're stuck with being people pleasers. We're stuck with justifying.
I wonder why you think we're stuck.
Oh, Carol, you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Go, man.
I wonder why we think we're stuck, says the rabbi. And then I repeat after she spoke.
Okay, not the okay.
We're not necessarily stuck with these things, but until we have awareness of them, it's harder to change. And I want to teach you guys it's a tool about change. Oopsie, wrong pile. Hold on. It's a tool about change that I haven't taught you before. Do you remember Y2K?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of like it,
Yes.
but it's called Y treble 2 H. I made that up. But this is the 4 parts of change. The 4 parts of change, and you need to put little hyphens in here. So it's Y treble 2 H, but it's really Y2 22 H. And let me show you how this works. Bob, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was just reminded of the person that had the responsibility for modifying all that. He changed Monday to Mundak, Tuesday to Tudak, Wednesday to Wendak. He changed all the Y's to K's.
Thank you. All right. How do we change? We change by doing the following 4 things. And I'm going to list them now in the proper order. Y2, 22, H. In order to do change, first we have to answer the question, why change? Unless we have a reason to change, we're not going to. Why would we change? We're fine. So we have to start with why change. The second thing we need to do is look at what to change. Okay, we need to change something. Our next question is, what do we change? What change to? And then how to cause the change. How to cause the change. I can zoom in a little bit. 4 parts of change are why change, what to change to, and how to cause that change. You don't have to do them in exactly this order. You might have a different acronym that you like better. That's fine. I find this one's really helpful. Why change? Why change? What's wrong with any of these things?
Doesn't fit our style.
It doesn't fit our style. Why change?
It hurts.
It hurts. Why change?
You're not being true to yourself.
Somebody.
We're not living our highest ideals. We're not living our highest values. We're living in the default settings. Uh-oh. I put this piece of paper on top of the other piece of paper. Oh.
Change that.
Let's see if we can remember those 4 parts. What were the letters?
Y
to H.
To H.
And that stood for?
Why to change?
Why change?
What to change?
What to change?
What to change. So let's start with what to change. What do we want to change?
Ourselves.
Bingo. There's only one thing we can change. There's only one thing we can change, right?
Yep.
Only thing we can change.
This reminds me of the 4 principles of Buddhism.
As my son pointed out, there are, how did he point out? There are 13 principles of Buddhism because the 4th one says follow the next 8. He's not a wise son. Yeah. This is the basis of all spiritual religious truth. Do you want to say more, Michael?
Guess not.
Okay. Why change? What to change? What to change to? What to change to? If we look at this list, what do we change to? We know why we want to change some. We know what we want to change, us. What to change to?
Harmony.
Becoming more loving.
Becoming more loving. I like that answer. I heard some others as well. What else? What do we want to change to?
Harmony.
Harmony.
Kinder and more realistic.
Kinder, more realistic. I would add in more choicey, more choosing, less defaulty.
Yeah.
A
Intentional.
more fulfilling life.
More conscious.
Yeah. Pause, fun, think.
Right?
Or mindful.
Okay. Oh, dang it. I got rid of that card again. What were they?
Why?
Why change?
To.
What to change?
To.
What to change to?
And
H. How to cause change.
How to cause change. All right, smart peoples. How?
shift your consciousness.
How?
Right behavior. Right behavior.
Right behavior.
Forgiving myself.
Decide.
Make a choice to decide. I would add in something that I'm sure you'll all agree with, but I had more time to think about this. How to cause the change? Patience.
That's right.
What do you
As a
need in order
doctor-
to cause these changes to happen? You need to have patience. You need to have
Time.
time.
Become the doctor.
Yeah, bit by bit.
Practice.
Practice.
Also accepting reality, like accepting the way things are, like that actually isn't to do with me, or that isn't that responsibility, or people pleasing the situation will actually change it.
You have to have the desire to change.
And let me add in the desire. Yeah, you have to want to change. And bring me back to this video. You have to do what? You
Turn
have
off the television.
Yes, you have to turn off the television.
Go over the top.
But you might have to. I'm going to bring up Thomas Merton's quote, and we're going to put this all together.
Be yourself.
You have to stop doing what the guy to your right is doing.
Yeah, question your.
So, Rabbi, we have a bunch of hands up.
I'm ready for him. Bob, and then Ron, and then Rachel. And I'm so glad you guys are all participating.
Yeah, the other day I had to change a light bulb because it was burnt out.
Well, that answers the question of how many post-Capuchin monks does it take to change a light bulb, and the answer is just one. Ron?
Oh, just the first stanza of this poem. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. And being ready is, I think, the key.
I think that's part of the how with patience.
Yeah.
Courage.
Being willing. Courage. Let's talk back about courage. We talked about that last week. There were 5 elements of being courageous. I think we should review those for a moment. Do you remember what there were 5 different places of being courageous?
Rabbi,
Physical,
Rachel,
emotional.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Rachel, I'll be right with you.
Oh, yeah.
Physical,
Yeah.
Emotional,
intellectual,
social, spiritual.
social, and spiritual. It spells pies. A little extra S on the pie there. Go ahead, Rachel.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Just back to the idea of change. And hi, everyone. I'm Rachel.
Hi,
Nice to be
Rachel.
here. The question about change is an interesting one for me because some change happens that you do not want. You can have change that can be traumatic and can be thrust upon you.
Yes.
And unexpected, and then you're grappling with it, and it can just cut you down to the bone.
Yeah.
For me, the grace within that, if there's any light that can crack through, it's about acceptance. Inklings of acceptance. And, that doesn't mean you have to like it. But if there are little moments of integration, that can be grateful to receive.
There is a great quote that I did not prepare, but I'm catching it right now that goes right with it. That is I think it's there's one quote that says acceptance is the answer to all of my problems.
It's in the big book.
It is in the big book. I'm trying to find the other. Dang it, my interwebs are not pulling up. Here it is. It's a quote from Byron Katie. And I'm going to have to just tell it to you because I can't. Here you go. And if I do this, hold on, this might work. Did that work? No, that did not work. Hold on. Please hold. There it is. When I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah, I've heard that in spaces that I've occupied the last year as I've been grappling with tremendous loss. So that's a good one. It's a good one. And I go toe to toe with reality every day, many times a day. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a show of hands, how many people, I'm going to put you all on screen for a moment. How many of you go toe to toe with reality every day and say, no, I would like it to be this way, please? And sometimes not as polite. This is a forever issue, isn't it? And I can get a meta acceptance of it if I realize I am going to have this my whole life. I am going to be fighting with reality always. I might get better at not struggling, but I'm probably going to continue to struggle forever. And there's something about knowing that gives me comfort in knowing, okay, so be it. I will always have this struggle. I will always have this fight.
Amen.
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 I think it's important, though. Can I say one thing about?
Yes, Michael. Hold on.
What Rachel's saying resonates really beautifully, and since it's an enduring state, it seems that we're talking about, it's really impossible to do alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible.
It is
to get into that to get into the mindset of acceptance of loss and injustice and all these kinds of things that we do to ourselves all the time. So
it's impossible to do alone, and yet that's the only way we do it.
Well, not really. I mean, we can't even get to this. I don't think we get to this concept of acceptance and choice unless we do all this psychological and emotional work.
Yes. There's a lot of.
And if this is the way you want to, if you don't want to live through anger and resistance, what other choice do you have? To go up to a mountain,
Right. We can argue,
jump off it or go in it. I don't know.
That's exactly the Byron Katie quote. We can argue with reality.
Yeah.
And we lose, but only 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. So what is it? It comes back to deep-seated behaviors that start in childhood, and it's tough. It's just you just got to throw hands up.
I think there's a middle ground between alone and not. And what I found is that the middle ground is about having a witness.
Yeah.
Although the work is done as an individual, if I can find solace and company then my grief, my loss, there's a transmuting that can happen with those deeper painful emotions because they're just being heard or seen.
And that's part of why we're here, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love having all the little boxes on my screen and asking everyone who else has this problem and knowing I'm not alone. I am alone, but I'm not alone. I got two people who are patiently with their hands up, Alice and then Ann. No.
I just had to interject. You let us have our microphones on, and I'm a Zoom participant gone wild.
So be it. Go ahead. I like your style, Rachel. Ellis.
Years ago, and it was a gradual understanding, I shouldn't say I had to. I began to want to change my reality. Once I got on that road, it never ends. It's an ongoing love affair with changing my reality. And I can just say today I'm far, far deeper into this new reality that makes life so much better. Because the first thing I've really realized is learning to love myself completely, totally. Everything else opens up once I did that.
Right, and let me bring it back to the why change, what to change to. If the biggest lever if the biggest impact can be made by pulling the lever towards self-love, that's the thing to change. If the biggest thing in your life that would change is having 2 seconds more patience a day, then that's the lever that will change everything. But the key is figuring out what to change. Once we figure out that, it's a lot easier. I can change my sheets, but my day's not going to be that much different tomorrow.
But it does take a lot of I don't want to make it sound like work. I guess that's a common term we use is work, but it's constantly bringing into mind the direction you want to be. And you do that through events like ROTB. It's reading the kinds of materials that enhance what you're looking for, that bring you peace, that bring you joy, bring you the kind of meaning in life that's meaningful.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you. And I'll take the compliment that was in there. Anne, go ahead.
You're muted.
Okay, there we go. As someone who has been part of the disability civil rights movement for many, many years, I really prefer what is called the St. Francis prayer, which is all about discernment, to accept the things that I cannot change, to change the things I can. And the prayer says wisdom, I would say, and discernment to know the difference.
Amen. That's it.
For example, if I cannot go to school because my legs don't work and I use a wheelchair. No, the civil rights movement said, you cannot go to church, you cannot go to school or church because there is no ramp up the steps.
Right.
And so I cannot change my legs, I cannot change my wheelchair. I can change the architecture of that building and have a ramp put up.
Amen.
That is what the entire disability civil rights movement was about.
Thank you, Anne. And thank you for your work on all of our behalfs there. Emily.
Actually, Jack had his hand up before Emily did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I want to throw my 2 cents in and tell you that for me, it wasn't until I started chasing God down that I found content.
Yeah. That's it. It wasn't until I started chasing God down. That's fantastic. What to change is our relationship with reality, however we want to use the God word. That's fantastic. Emily, go ahead. Thank you, Jack.
I realized, I was thinking this morning, that once we make those changes and evolve into something else, we can't go back.
You cannot put the oak back in the acorn once it starts to grow.
Nope.
You cannot unchange. You can pretend to, but you can't. Okay.
Yeah, and then it gets scared.
Yes, indeed. Let's take a moment for pausing. And I think we have some prayer and concerns. Maria, you have those?
I do.
Would you?
These are the names of people to lift up and send positive energy to. Mare, Megan family, Allison and relatives, April, Jill, Iggy, Ken, Joe, Carol, Rita S., Phil, Bill, David, Gretchen, Linda, Carla, Robert, Vicky, Pat, Abbas, Putin, Lena, Rune, Christina, Greta, Michael Perlmutter, the Fetter family following the passing of Carol Fetter, the Cook family, Jane in spirit, Ben, Hugh, Elizabeth Thomas and family, Violet and Jess, Helen in spirit, and an unnamed baby girl in the Lethbridge Hospital. If there is another person in our community we can offer light and love to, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Let's sit for 1 minute in silence. Okay. I have a few extra announcements. One, this one is always of great importance. It's okay not to be okay. Hold on a second. There it is. It's okay not to be okay. I need you to hear that. It's okay not to be okay. That is so important. If you're having a hard time, okay, you're having a hard time. It's allowed. It has to be allowed. It has to be permitted. We have to be able to not be okay at times. Other announcement.
Can you say a little bit more about that? Okay can you say a few more words about that? I mean, what I'm saying is the fine teeth on that comb. What does that mean?
That we have negative emotions, we have depressive thoughts, we get into funks. That's part of being alive, is not enjoying the trip the whole time. And if we think we should be happy, joy all the time, we're setting ourselves up to fail miserably. I want us to all remember that there's death, there's isolation, there's depression. Those are all real. And kicking our ass for feeling bad is an extra ass kicking we don't need. We're already having a hard time. Don't kick your ass for having a hard time if you're having a hard time. You deserve compassion at every moment.
It's difficult when, if depression is one of these, or obsessional behavior is one of them, it's kind of difficult.
Yes.
How do you jump over that?
Right. Yeah. How do you do it? And part of it is you hear...
Be okay when your issue is, I'm not okay.
Part of it is you hear this crazy ass rabbi on a Saturday morning service say, that's okay.
That's okay.
And even if you don't believe it for yourself, you hear that somebody outside of you says it's permitted. It's all right. And even if it's just, there's a German word, Hintergedanken, hinter, like the hinterlands in the back, Gedanken, thought, that even if it's just a tiny thought that's in the back of your brain, let it take a little bit of, let it sit there for a moment, that it's okay not to be okay, that it's okay to be depressed.
Yeah, obsessed.
Enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Accept yourself for who you are.
And that might not be that you're happy. Thank you for asking, Michael. Tuesday at this same exact Zoom link at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is 3 hours later than this started, I do an open office hours. If you ever have a question, or if you want to participate in beta test guinea pigging about, like, how do I know how to do this service, is often I bring an idea on Tuesday. And I brought an idea on Tuesday, and it flopped so terribly that I hadn't pre-thought that it was going to make me feel queasy and ill. And so I found that out on Tuesday, and we didn't do that thing here today because it went really badly. If you would like to be, if that excites you, please join us on Tuesday. Everyone's welcome. Every weekday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, I live stream a meditation. It is an unguided meditation. You are all welcome to sit with me. If you would like, I just had my friend Marla, some of you saw it, Marla was on screen with me. We talked about meditating before we sat for the 20 minutes. If you want to learn about meditation, I'm always glad to teach it. That's weekdays. Show up early club if you want to start before we start at 7:30, so a half hour before this service begins, you can log in. And please go to rotb.org, and that's where you'll find the Religion Outside the Box newsletter, and you'll find the blog. And from that, from the blog, if you sign up for the blog, and you will get an invitation to join the Zoom group and be here with everyone else. Okay, I wanted to do one more thing. How are we doing, folks? It's good to see you. Good. Okay, let me do one more thing about change. This is the beginning of the year, and I haven't done this since last year. I might have done it in November, but that was last year. Hold on. Oh, I'm going to admit something first, and this is going to go under standard human operating procedure. I was laying in bed this morning thinking, well, the last time I ran services, I felt really calm about it. And it was really wonderful. And that had been a goal of mine for a long time, was to run services where I felt really comfortable, like I do right now. I just feel comfortable running it. And I had this thing that said, unless you're looking like you're working really hard, you're not doing it well. Unless you look like you're really stressed out, well, it can't be good unless it's harder than what you're making this look like. And then I was able to at least intellectually dismiss that thought pretty quickly. But I have a feeling I'm not the only one who has that thought. And it goes back to that Thomas Merton quote. that to allow ourselves to be pulled in too many directions, it's spiritual self-violence. Okay, now let me get to the last thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, there are lots of comments that have happened on Facebook and YouTube. So that's Rabbi Zach Shapiro and my friend Shari Miller. I apologize, folks who are on Facebook and on YouTube. I do not get to see these usually until afterwards. I thank you for posting and being here. Here's going to be my favorite tool about change. Some of you remember this. This is the work of Eli Goldratt, who's it goes like this. When we're looking at change, just a quick show of hands, how many of you are using this or keep this in your back pocket as a tool? Cool. Yeah. It goes like this. Here's change. Here's not change. Delta being the Greek letter that represents change in physics. Here's positives. Here's negatives. And this is just if we're looking to change something. I'm looking to change something. So I'm looking at the standard human operating procedure. Some of you might remember there was this really adorable 12-year-old girl who used to show up to services. I'm not going to name any names, but it was my daughter. And there's a joke that rabbis tell, which is, why do we do a bar or bat mitzvah at 13? And the answer is because we'd never be able to get a 14-year-old to do it.
Makes sense.
You might notice that since her bat mitzvah, you ain't seen that little girl around these parts very much. I haven't seen that delightful, happy-go-lucky, willing to participate little girl. I haven't seen her in a long while either. Somebody has replaced her. Adolescence has replaced her. I'm going to work this box today live. I haven't planned this whole thing out, but it came to me in that 1 minute of silence that this would be useful. So what do I want to change? I want to change that video of the little kid looking at the dad and knowing how to react. I want to change my reactions to her, because I know, at least intellectually, that when she says some snotty things, I know that I don't need to respond in kind. I don't need to be snotty back. So why the problem, this is this box, and this is usually an angry monster. Those are teeth. Remember, I have to tell you what the picture is so that you know. Those are really teeth, and this is that's really scary. Really scary monster here. Why change? Because there's something there's some problem. There's a scary monster. My scary monster is my reactions, pre-actions, maybe, if I put it towards the way that Jack and others were talking about it, that I react automatically to my daughter in a way that I wish I didn't. What I would like to change to is I would like to have peace. I would like to keep my sense of humor at all times. And then there are these two boxes. And those ones are always the most interesting ones. Hardest to figure out, but the most interesting. This one we used to call the pot of gold. Oh, no. This was the pot of gold. This was the robber. This is once you get the pot of gold, once you get the thing you've always wanted, you have a new problem. So this is not change, you have a problem. But if you change, you have a new set of problems. Sometimes you can predict it, sometimes you can't. But if I wind up, I can't think of this one right now in the situation I'm in. I can't think of what it is that if I had a good sense of humor around my daughter's snarkiness, I might have a new problem that I haven't had before. I don't know what that is.
She doesn't appreciate your sense of humor.
I already have that problem, Rob.
Maybe you don't have to know now. Maybe that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I don't know, and I'm willing to not know. I said hello to somebody outside I was driving her on a thing. I roll down the window. I say hi to a kid who I know, who I've known since forever. And that was the wrong thing to do, man. Boy, was I embarrassing. This one was the mermaid. This is there. If I change, I'm going to lose. Oh, I know what this one is, I think. If I change, I'm going to lose this thing that I always enjoyed that I can no longer have. And I apologize. My friend Ann said, I always said that if you get the pot of gold, you have to lose your mermaid because mermaids are allergic to gold. And my friend Ann said, how do you know mermaids are allergic to gold? And I said, I don't know. I just made that up. Like, that's not real. But we're just going with it. If I change and I have a sense of humor and I roll with Annie, I used her name. If I roll with my daughter more than I do currently, I'm going to lose something that I kind of secretly like. And there's a dare I say joy in getting angry. There's a camaraderie. I can't say that word right now. There's a thing that I get about her picking on me. There's a joy that I get about, and I just did it with you guys, right? Of complaining and like, oh, poor me. Isn't it funny? I'm dealing with a teenager. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to lose that if I have a sense of humor, and I'm going to lose. So there's a bondingness that I get to other people when I complain. And if I have a sense of humor and don't take her so seriously, and she can also be completely delightful in the next sentence, and it's like bizarre. But I have to be willing to give up this bonding that I'd have with other people. Okay.
You might give her permission to be who she is, and ask her that she has her permission for you to be who you are.
Yeah, it's possible. So let me leave this with you all to think about next week. Think about whatever it is that you want to change. I want to do a very quick review. There were some letters about change that started with a Y. What were they?
Y.
2. 22.
H.
So I'm going to leave that with you this week to think about is what is it you want to change? What do you want to change to? What to change? Why change? What to change to, and how to cause the change. So let's think about that for next week. I'm going to end us off here. Thank you guys for all showing up and for participating. And for those who are new, welcome. For those who've come before, I'm glad you're still coming. Tell your friends if you like. I have a good time. Let me put the screen on so we can all wave goodbye to the lovely people who are watching at home. Let's wave goodbye to all those lovely people. And I would stop recording, but my computer's now frozen. Alex! Oh, no.
I don't think I can stop your recording.
I will stop the recording. I'm going to turn the room over to you. Oh, I found it. I found the button.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, gang. Alex, you take from here.
Yep, I got it. Rooms are now open for those that want to go into the breakout rooms.
And I poetry.
Okay, give me 1 second. And for those of you who are on iPads and things like that, I'll have to move you to the room that you want. Let me get Betsy here. And
Rachel, I recommend staying for the after things.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I can stay for a couple minutes, but then I promised my son I'd make pancakes. So, but I'll jump in a breakout room for a few minutes at least.
Jack wants poetry.
Jack wants poetry. Okay, hang on 1 second.